Hello there. So I finally got a hold of one of these, the Quarq Shockwiz. What this little McGaffer is a suspension tuning device that hooks on directly to your S-pump fork or shock. It's got built-in algorithms that measures the air pressure change in your suspension over 100 times a second. It gives you readings like optimum rebound settings, the pogo effect, high speed, low speed compression. It really takes out the guesswork out of setting up your suspension. I'm not gonna go through the entire setup in this video. I'll add links in the description below to Quarq's website where you can see how to set up, how to install, how to set up it with the app. They really have good and detailed videos on that. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna install this on my bike, and then I'll see you out on the trail. And here we are. Alright, so I've set up the Shockwizes both on the fork and on the shock. Very important to follow the video exactly, it's quite detailed. So as you see, that's it on the fork, that's it on the shock. Alright, and here's the thing, it's very important to follow the setup wizard on the app to calibrate these things. You need to have a baseline, your pressures need to be sorted, your sag needs to be sorted. Very important, check your pressures when you arrive at the trail. Don't just assume that what you did last night or the previous day or whatever the setup is going to be the same. Just check it before you go. You don't want to go through this whole mission and your base settings was wrong. Alright, so my base settings have been sorted. I've calibrated the Shockwizes. I've set my sag correctly. The other thing to remember is you cannot change the compression setting. It needs to be on the open setting for the fork as well as the shock. So during the entire ride you need to stay in that compression setting. You cannot change it. So for the uphills, the downhills, doesn't matter, you need to stay there. Remember that when you start a session on the app and you collect your data, any subsequent session after that will erase the previous session's data. So just keep that in mind for when you're switching between the two. If you're doing a run on the shock, you're switching over to the fork, nothing will happen. But if you go back to the shock and you say start a new session, then you'll lose the data from the previous session. Alrighty, that's it. Warm up done. I'm at the top of Spijkers Hill now, the top of the trail. Let's just see what we've got here. Alright, you see that? Means it's a shock tuning score 92%, which is very good. So it collected very good data to calculate. That 100% figure there is the confidence. So the app says it's 100% confident in the data that it's collected. So let's see what the suggestions say. Baseline air pressure, spot on. Air spring ramp, spot on. Low speed rebound, spot on. Low speed compression, however, makes softer, which it can't because it's already running in its softest mode. Okay, so let's see how I did with the fork. A little bit different than the shock. I did some gnarly downhill, I did the cobra, did some drops, did some jumps, so I did everything that I possibly could. So I think this was a thorough sample to do. But the shock tuning score is only 78, which means there's a couple of things to work on. I still don't know what that means. I'll find out. But the confidence is 100%, so the app says the sample was enough. Okay, so let's look at the suggestions. Baseline air pressure was fine, that's where we set it at, so that should always be okay. The ramp, very interesting. It says add more spaces. So this Fox 34 Rhythm shock comes out with 2 factory installed spaces. I had additional 2 added, and now it says even more. So okay, that's something to look at. Rebound, okay, I'm very happy about that. So it means my rebound settings is spot on. That's excellent. So yeah, that was my first session with the Quarq Shockwiz. It's very good. It's very nice to have a look at the data and see exactly what your suspension is doing. Takes out all the guesswork. And what's very nice, especially if you've got 2 Shockwizes, one on the fork and one on the shock, although you can only look at one at a time on the app, it still collects data. It collects data and stores it inside the unit. So you can run both on the same trail and analyze the data one by one afterwards. If you want to speed up the suspension tuning process, use 2. It goes a lot quicker because you can use both simultaneously on the same terrain on the same day, and that really helps. So I'm very chuffed. There's a couple of things to look at which I'll get sorted the next couple of weeks or so, but so far so good. I'm very glad I had the opportunity to use a Shockwiz. I think it's a fantastic tool. If you're a beginner, average rider, a guy like me that's not, I haven't been riding long enough to know all the ins and outs of suspension. So, and I like my suspension to be dialed. I don't like guessing. No, I want it to be perfect. So this is ideal tool to have it. I like looking at the statistics and analyzing stuff. So yeah, it really was a fantastic day, and I'm so glad I did it. Thanks very much for watching. If you like my channel, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up like. Cheers.